Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Paul, and today's episode I thought I'd bring you my 3 favourite tactics that I've used so far on Football Manager 23. Now, whether you're a Football Manager veteran and you've been playing since back in Championship Manager, or you're new to the game, finding a tactic that works for you is key to success. It's a tactic that you can then build around your squad moving forward over the seasons that you play, and you can take it from team to team. I've been playing this since the beta came out, and I've settled on 3 that I found have really worked for me. And what I'm going to do is I am going to go through them with you very briefly, show you the formations, show you what I do when I've got the ball, when I lose the ball, and when I haven't got it, and then just see if I can help you find the right tactics for you. So starting with one of my favourites, it is the 4-2-3-1, and I always use this tactic when I want to control the possession. So when I'm one of the better teams in the league, you think of your Liverpools, Man Cities, if you're doing a Premier League save, or lower down the leagues, you're looking at like your Wrexhams, Notts Counties, Chesterfields if you're in the Vanarama North. Now, what I like to do in this save is have my 2 wingers, as you can see here, as inside forwards. That way they push up, they get alongside that striker, who I always set as a poacher, so he's on the last line of defence, and they chip in with probably 10-15 goals a season. But what is key to being able to do that is making sure that my wing backs are set to support. And I've got them set, when I've got the ball, as you can see here, to overlap as well. Now, what that means is that my wing play doesn't disappear entirely. We still play a fairly wide system, but it means that I have goals coming from different areas, and I'm not just reliant on my striker. I do like to set it to work the ball into the box, and that you'll see that is on all 3 tactics I'm going to show you in this episode. The reason for that is I find that because I manage in the lower leagues quite a lot, that actually if I don't have that set up, for some reason the shots tend to be from distance. If I was managing in the Premier League with a Newcastle, Liverpool, Manchester City, Man United, etc., I'd take that off and actually have them do a mix. That's just because the players are better. In transition, what we like to do then is counter press, and then as soon as we win the ball back, it's counter attacking. We really try and get up the field as quick as we can with sharp, short passing, and go from there. Now, if it does go as far back as our goalie, we'll distribute it quickly and we'll actually go out on the flanks. I don't like it when my goalkeepers play it to the middle. I find that in this year's game, centre-backs, even if they've got really good passing ratings, make mistakes. And they make them quite a lot. Now, that might get patched later down the line, but you'll see again in all 3 of these tactics, the ball goes wide. Get it away from the goal, out wide, where we can then defend. Now, out of possession, it is, again, something you'll probably see throughout these. I like to have them set up very similar. I like to trap teams outside. I focus on getting big centre-backs who are really good with their head, which means if I trap the teams outside, they are going to cross the ball in, and it might not be from an advantageous position for them, which then means I can clear the ball. I'll also always tell my teams predominantly to stay on their feet. The reason for that is yellow cards are really easy to come by this year. They were last year as well on Football Manager, and I find that if they're staying on their feet, I'm not getting as many bookings, which means I'm not going to get red cards and put myself at a disadvantage. Just going back before we move on to the team selection here, this one for me is key. So the roaming playmaker. When you set up a 4-2-3-1 control possession, both of those holding midfielders that you see there will be set as ball-winning midfielders. Now, I like to have a roaming playing midfielder because he then links between the defence and the attacking midfielder, the player in that number 10 role. He's actually quite key. So make sure when you're setting it up, you either have him as a deep-lying playmaker or a roaming playmaker, just to be that pivot between your defence and attack. All right, so the next tactic I'm going to go through with you is the 5-2-1-2. Now, I actually ran through this one towards the end of Football Manager 22 on a Wrexham save that I was doing. And it is the only time on Football Manager 22 I was able to go unbeaten for an entire season. So I transferred that over during the beta when it first downloaded to Football Manager 23 to see if it would work. And lo and behold, again, it worked. Now, the key thing for this is making yourself really hard to break down and actually stopping them at the point of attack, because I find, especially when I manage in lower leagues, you do get beat by the ball over the top quite a lot. So as you can see, we've got 3 centre backs and 2 wing backs. The wing backs are the point of attack in this system. Okay, so it's their job. You need 2 wing backs with really good high work rates and good crossing abilities, because they're going to be key. Now, in terms of your strikers, you can set this up however you want. Normally, I will have him as a target forward. But that, again, it comes from my Wrexham save when I had Paul Mullin and Ollie Palmer up front. If your strikers aren't suited to a target forward, you don't have to. It just kind of suits the way I play. The attacking midfielder, again, is a pivot point because your 2 central midfielders are going to sit, which means that if you lose the ball, they will fill into the wing-back position when your wing-backs are caught up the field. In terms of what we do when we have the possession, well, we focus the ball down the wings. Again, that is why you need to have 2 really good high energy, high stamina wing-backs, because if you don't have that, you're going to struggle as the game goes on. Your mixed crosses on this one, I actually find low crosses are the easiest way to score a goal. Previously, it was whipped. However, and that is why you don't need a target man on Football Manager 23, is because actually the low crosses are at the moment they're quite successful. They have a very high chance conversion rate, I find. You do want them running at the defence. Now, if you wanted to on this save, you could go more direct and you could set this up, to go slightly more direct. It's another personal preference of mine that I like to keep the ball. So even in this formation, I find that I tend to have 60 to 65% possession a game, which means, again, if I break the ball, if they do break me down, I'm going to get the ball back quite quickly because my turnover retention is high, and it means that I don't spend a lot of time having to defend. You don't want to be hitting early crosses. You'll see it here again. I have it work into the box, but you can set that up for low crosses if you wanted to. If it depends. For me, I like to work the ball into the box. I don't find, because I play, if I'm not playing Paul Mullin, I find I don't score as many crosses. But again, it is all up to your personal preference. In transition is where it differs slightly from what you would expect from a 5-2-1-2. I still like to counter press, and when we win the ball back, we counter, and we counter quickly. We still distribute the ball to the flanks, and we still distribute it quickly with a long throw. There's, that's just standard. We don't want our centre backs to be having the ball, unless you've got somebody like a Virgil van Dijk, a Ruben Diaz, who. But even them that I've noticed this season make very silly mistakes and will give the ball away far easier. That's why I like the ball away from my goal. It's a personal preference again, but for me, and if you guys watching this, if you can't figure out why your defenders are making those stupid mistakes, just don't give them the ball. Just get it out to your fullbacks and away from the goal. And then in terms of when we're out of possession, this is about, like I said, being in a low block. So you're really hard to break down. So you literally lose the ball, you'll counter press. Now, what you'll find with this is they will drop back to the halfway line. And when the other team approaches the halfway line, that's when the counter press starts. It doesn't start from the moment you lose the ball. So it is about it's a mixture, and it works. You won't think it will, but trust me, it will. And that is where this trigger press. So once they get here, that is the trigger. The halfway lines are the trigger. In this formation is the only formation I will ever use where I tell them to get stuck in, because it's about going in hard and winning the ball back quickly as soon as they reach our half of the pitch. We do drop off, but we still trap outside. We've got 3 centre-backs on the field, so let's use their height and let's clear it, and we will invite those crosses from wherever. I back your centre-backs, back them to get rid of the ball. And the last tactic I'm going to bring you is the Gen press. Now, if you played Football Manager 22 and Football Manager 21, you will know just how successful the Gen press was. This is set up like a Jurgen Klopp team. This is set up like Liverpool. With the idea being it is heavy metal football. So we go attacking as a mentality. We still have our wingers set as inside forwards as well. And then you've got your box-to-box midfielder. You've got a deep lying playmaker in the holding role just to spray passes out a little bit. If you think of Pirlo, that's what we're looking for in this formation. And then your wing-backs will bomb on as well. So we still have that overlap left and right because we want our fullbacks to be the point of it, but we are also going to play out of defence. So this is where it differs slightly to the last tactic where we don't play out of defence, we get it long and we get it wide to our fullback, to our wing backs who should be pushed up at that point. Here we're going to play out our defence. We're going to trust our defenders not to make a mistake. The chances are they will. You'll concede a few goals with this formation. But it's a risk you take when you go more attacking and with a heavier press game. We're still working the ball into the box. This one has mixed crosses because, again, apart from low crosses, it is dependent on your personal preference. If you've got a tall striker, you use his height. So in transition, we counter press, and when we win the ball, we attack. We counter as quickly as we can. When the goalkeeper gets the ball, we distribute it quickly straight out to the flanks by a short kick. So what that will mean is that it'll go left or right. They'll be 10 yards in front of the centre-backs, and then it means our centre-backs don't touch the ball again, which is exactly what we want. Now, the difference here, when we haven't got the ball, is that we press high. So our striker is responsible for closing the goalkeeper and the centre-backs down, wingers, and etc. We stay on our feet, and we step up more. With this formation, you'll notice that the only thing is, the big difference between the other is that the pressing trap. Because this is all about pressure on the ball. We don't need to trap them outside or trap them inside. We are constantly pressing that ball, which means it's irrelevant where we trap them. The whole team is working to do that. So I don't feel the need to focus on one area or the other. And again, we're not inviting crosses or stopping them. We're trusting us to break it down before it gets to that point. Now, if it doesn't happen, then you can concede goals with this formation. This formation and this tactic, I find, is out of the three that I've shown in this video, is the most likely for you to concede a high number of goals, but you're going to score a large number of goals as well. I really hope this has helped experienced and new players alike. If it has, and if you've tried one of these formations, let me know in the comments below which one it was, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on how it worked for you. Remember, if you've enjoyed the content as well, please drop a sub and hit that like button so more and more people can see this footage. I'll catch you all in our next video, and remember to check out Welcome to Wrexham episode 3 that is out now, and episode 4 which drops on Wednesday. Thanks very much. I'll see you soon.